This summer I've had the privilege of having a job with a DNR that allows me to survey thousands of different anglers in many locations. Seeing how so many people fish has been eye-opening to me for a number of reasons. Today I want to talk about some of the errors that I see anglers make. Simple little mistakes that decrease the chances of catching a lot of fish. I can guarantee that if you are new to fishing, the following tips will help you catch more fish and become a more effective angler. If you find this video helpful in any way, please subscribe and give me a like, as that helps out my channel tremendously. And now for the tips. By nature, we as humans tend to be a little lazy, and it's extremely common for someone to arrive at a pond or a lake, beeline it straight down to the shoreline closest to their vehicle, and fish the entire time in that spot. What people often fail to consider is that many others also do this, and that spot is usually overpressured. Another important thing to consider is that most fishing requires a lot of moving. In order to truly get an idea of any body of water, you'll need to move around and fish many different areas. With some practice, it'll be easier for you to find the fish than it will be for the fish to find you. And that's why it's so important for you to intentionally choose a spot to fish and not just fish where it's convenient. When I think about all my favorite fishing spots, none of them are very easy to get to. Usually I'm wading through a swamp, scaling a steep hillside, or just doing some serious bushwhacking. While this may not be for everybody, you should at least try to target areas that present a difference from the rest of the water, like an inlet or some shade. Try any kind of structure, both below or above water. I really believe it to be true that 90% of the fish are in only 10% of the lake. My point is, put some thought into your spot, and don't just fish the first thing you see without moving. "10 minutes of research can save you hours of stagnant fishing and is well worth the effort." There have been many occasions when I have surveyed anglers who targeted a specific species of fish that wasn't even found in that body of water. And I can tell you now, if you throw a big hunk of meat out for catfish in a pond that only holds small trout, it's going to be a very slow day of fishing. There are so many resources out there to help anglers study up on their different local bodies of water. Check out fishing apps, blogs, YouTube channels, and stocking reports. Here in Utah, we have the DWR Fishing Report, which is extremely helpful, and I'll link it in the description below. On top of knowing what species exist in the area you're fishing, it is also extremely important just to have a general idea of what tackle works best for each species. For example, if I'm targeting catfish, I probably wouldn't want to use a flashy lure of some kind like I would for trout. If I get to a pond and spend an hour casting a silver spinner out without any luck, I can't yet assume that the fish aren't biting. Fish can be very picky at times, and it's important to try a variety of things if one thing isn't working. I usually will start off with one of my favorite lures, and then if I don't have a single bite in about 10 minutes, I'll switch to something else, and then continue this practice with at least a few different types of lures and baits until I find what seems to be working best. I see so many anglers out there use hooks and lures that are just simply too big. It's pretty common to hear people say that putting on a bigger hook or lure will catch bigger fish. While this can be true, you must also realize that you'll catch much less fish. My thought is that a big fish can be caught on a small hook, but a small fish can't be caught on a bigger hook. So for that reason, I tend to use pretty small hooks on average. Now don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place to use bigger tackle, but just know if the place that you're fishing doesn't have many large fish, like if you're fishing in city ponds or in streams, I would encourage you to keep your hooks small. When it comes to fishing, I would say that simplicity is typically always better. The less things that you have on your line, the less there is to spook fish. Anything that isn't absolutely necessary in terms of tackle should be eliminated. So in other words, don't use more sinkers than you need, don't use a swivel if you don't need it, and don't use a jig head as a bait hook. It may take a little more time if you have to switch things up, but it's definitely worth the extra minute or two. Patience is a big part of fishing, but patience alone won't catch you fish. On some occasions, the fish just aren't biting or may not even be there. If that's the case, your enduring patience won't do you much good. If you have done your research on the pond, you're using the right tackle, moving and fishing a variety of places, and you still haven't gotten a bite after at least half an hour, it simply may not be worth your time to hang around. I have surveyed many anglers that have fished for more than 5 hours without so much as a nibble, and this just makes my heart sad. Personally, I don't stick around anywhere for more than half an hour if I haven't even had a bite. Considering everything that I have said, fishing isn't just about catching fish. A big part of it is spending quality time with your family or loved ones and just enjoying this beautiful earth that God has created for us. However, I won't deny that catching fish does make things a little bit more memorable. If you have found that this video is helpful in any way, please consider subscribing to my channel, as that is very helpful to me. Thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.